All right, y'all. Um, I wanted to do a tier list. And I was originally gonna do Resident Evil games, and then when I saw all of the games on the like all the options you could put on the list, I realized how little I'd played and compared in comparison to like all the games that had been released, and I feel like it'd be kind of stupid for me to just you know do like half of the list and put the other half in like haven't played tier. But this is one where I feel like I could probably do most, if not all of them, assuming I can figure out what all the characters are based off the pictures, which I think I can. So this is the Eragon / Inheritance Cycle character tier list. Um, I'm gonna leave it at S through D, but for anyone who hasn't finished the series, spoilers for one. For two, this was modified last in 2020. Since this was created or last modified, the newest book, Murtag, came out, which isn't technically part of the inheritance cycle, but it is considered part of, like, I guess, the world of Eragon now. That's what Paolini calls it. But I will be doing some of my rating based off of that book, given there are some characters in that book that are not. I'm assuming I don't see them here, are not in this tier list. But yeah, I am going to do a couple of the characters from that book, Murtag, as you can imagine. Will be judged off of everything, including the book Murtag as well. And if I get some of these characters wrong based off the pictures, I think I have most of them. But if not, please don't be mad. But yeah, let's get into it. So I'm pretty sure first off, this is Arya. I like her as a character, but she's really cool. I like the elf design. She's basically like I'm pretty sure the first elf that you see in the entire series, given she's in the first book. I like her strengths. Like, she's super fast. She's really, really strong. She's like calm. I don't, character wise, given I'm not a writer, nor am I like, I don't want to call myself like a snob, so I don't want to go too hard into like character archetypes and like knocking Christopher Paolini's writing of these characters. But I do kind of feel like in the first book, she's more of like the damsel in distress, but then come to find out, like, he had a lot planned for her, because I don't know if you guys remember, in the first book, Eragon has a dream where he sees like a ship going down a stream, a man crying, and a woman like flying away, I think. And later he wrote that's the very last scene in the book Inheritance, where Arya flies away, leaving Eragon to leave Alagasia, and Roran cries or whatever. So she wasn't only written to be like the damsel in distress and then to be nothing in the future, right? I'm pretty sure he had big plans for her from the beginning, but it does seem like from the first book, she was kind of just like a pretty elf woman, come save me kind of thing. She does end up having a lot more significance later in the story. I mean, she does remain somewhat of a misguided love interest for Eragon. But I'm trying to think if there's any like specific scenes where I'm like, man, this really, really sucked, or this was really, really cool, really, really good writing. I don't know anything specific. Nothing comes to mind. I mean, she was the one to kill Shrukin. Spoilers, if I didn't say that already. She did technically kill Shrukin. I think that's how you pronounce it, with the Doth Dart. Pretty sure that's how you pronounce that too. Maybe, could be wrong. And she did basically lead to Eragon killing the Shade. God, what's his name from the first book? Why can't I think of his name? I usually know his name. It's like a D and a Z in it. But Eragon kills the Shade because she flies Saphira through like the big emerald that the elves have, or excuse me, the dwarves have. So she has some pretty strong moments, and overall, like the fact that she just looks, like a very tall, like elvish-looking woman who has very strong abilities. I feel like that's pretty cool. I'll put her in B tier for now, and I understand that probably that deliberation went on for longer than it should have. I might end up changing it. She's not my favorite character. She's also not my least favorite character. She's kind of confusing. I think B tier is good right now because of her inclusion as a love interest in Eragon. I think I'm gonna leave her at B for now. Yeah. All right. So next we have, this is Eragon. I'm pretty sure. As a main character, I'd have to. This actually is a lot harder than I thought it would be, because there's a lot that I kind of like want to. There's some things that I want to touch on from like a writing standpoint, given I'm not a writer, so I feel like I don't have like the skills or like the knowledge to be able to rate things based off of like how they are written. But there are some things that I do feel like were written better than others, or were I would have maybe done them differently, right? But like I'm not a writer, so like it is what it is. But as far as Eragon goes, being a main character, he's a good main character. He, I really enjoy his power. I guess his rise to power. I guess his resolve at the end of how he felt like he needed to leave Allegazia because, he wanted to be able to kind of train the dragons and raise them outside of it and not cause any problems, I guess, politically. After Galbatorix's death, and he felt like he'd have to pick a side one way or another. And honestly, I love reading from his perspective. Just like later on in the books, whenever the perspectives sort of switched between Eragon and Roran, and I want to say Arya too. I like Eragon as a character. He's a good, easy main character. I'll put him in A tier. Just because there's nothing super significant that I can think about him, but he has some really, really cool moments. But I feel like A tier is good. I do not like how, actually I'll get to this when I get to Galbatorix, but Eragon has cool moments. Some things I don't love. A tier. Next, it looks like Murtagh, because if this is Murtagh, I'm assuming that this is Roran. And it's probably going from like, I wouldn't say relevance, but yeah, the Murtagh black hair. Murtagh is going to be at least A tier. I'll go ahead and say that right now. The only thing keeping me from making him a for sure S tier is the book Murtagh. I love the book. I thought it was a great book. I really enjoyed reading it. I loved his inclusion in the first game. I love how an eldest, the namesake reveal of that book is that he is Eragon's older brother. Supposedly at the time, full-blood brother. Come to find out that that's not the case. They're not half-brothers because they only share the same mother. They don't share the same father. So, that said, I think, speaking of which, is it Braum? I was going to say they left Braum out, but I think that might be Braum. I'm going to consider that Braum, if not. Murtagh is a great character. He's probably my favorite of the writers. I would put him above Eragon. I'd put him above Arya. The writers of the time of the series, the Inheritance Cycle / the Eragon, World of Eragon. He's at least A tier, but I was going to say, I read Murtagh, and the beginning scene was really cool when he was at the bar in, I don't remember what city it is. It's not Gilead. It might be. Where he's at the bar, and it is the story from The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, where he talks to the little girl, and in The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, it's from the little girl's perspective, and Murtagh, it's from his perspective. I thought that was really cool. I love that whole scene. He meets one of the dreamers. It's very mysterious. I love how they end up going to... I don't know why I didn't refresh on any of like the names of the places before I did this. What city do they go to? Murtagh. Wikipedia. Is there Wikipedia? Anybody? Murtagh book wiki. They fight Bashel in... Damn, he wrote this in 2020 September. He began writing in September 2021. It's a pretty quick turnaround. All these fucking ads, Jesus Christ, and I have ad blocker. Whatever city they go to, where Bashel lives, they stay there for too long, and so many times throughout the book, Murtagh and Thorn have the conversation with each other. This place is bad. We should go. This place is bad. We should get back up. This place is bad. And I get that there's that, like, Murtagh's desire to not, to not rely on Eragon or Arya or Nasueda, because, he's kind of a taboo at that point in the story because he killed Hrothgar. He's technically a war criminal, but like because of his, he technically was the reason why they even were able to kill Galbatorix in the first place in the original series. So that's why he's like on decent standing with the rest of the main cast of characters. But I don't know why they hung around so long whenever they knew there was like such a deep evil. And I guess you could say that like they were so close to the whatever was inside the mountain, which I believe is supposed to be like whatever the massive dragon's name is that the dreamers are trying to bring back to life. That steam coming out of the mountain could have been causing them influence, but they were having dreams while they were there, hence the dreamers. But I really feel like they could have left, and it took a lot of faith out of Murtagh for me. On top of reading, and I can't back this up, but I read a thread on the Eragon subreddit that Paolini has said that if the events of the book Murtagh took place, but instead of it being Murtagh and Thorn, it was, say, Eragon and Saphira, or Arya, and I think Firnin is her dragon's name, then it would have been done. Like Bashel would have got clapped immediately. Bam, story over. No book involved. Like fuck the werecat that Murtagh talks to in the beginning of the book. Fuck Muckmaw. Like they would have just showed up, clapped everybody, dealt with the threat, and then left. Right. So that kind of sucks too. But I do like how it fleshes out Murtagh more as a character, in the sense of Galbatorix was using him as a tool of war, him and Thorn, and rushed all of his training, forced his growth, his training forced Thorn's growth, forced Thorn's abilities. So I love his background. He's probably the best written character. And I say that because I see a lot of like Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender in Murtagh, having a whole, the villain to hero character arc. But damn, Murtagh just took a lot out of him. Not a lot. It took some faith out of him for me. I feel like he was really the type to get shit done in the original series. Like when he showed up, it was like game over. Like he's about business. Like he beat Eragon in Eldest. You know what I mean? He murked Hrothgar just because he wanted to for fun. Mind you, he pretty much led most, if not all, of the assaults on the Varden in the main series. But then I feel like he got mega nerfed in Murtagh. To get to the point, for that reason, I'm probably gonna put him at A tier, but I still could bump him up to S. Still could bump him up to S. I'll come back to that, and I'll come back to Arya. I'm feeling more solidified about Arya being a B tier now, but yeah, we got to move on. Saphira's cool. I love how Saphira has that dragon pride, but also is smart. And I say that because there's another character that I will get to that makes me appreciate that quality in Saphira. She has some really cool moments. She pulls through. She's not really annoying. Like, she doesn't have any quirks. It's like, damn, I'm tired of reading about her, which makes sense because she's basically like the second main character, of like the original series. I mean, there's not much more I could really say. I mean, I preferred reading about all of like the humans, not the humanoid characters, than I did really reading from the dragons' perspectives. It's cool, but I appreciate that. Saphira thought that she was like the last alive of her kind until she found out later in the series, that wasn't the case. I like how, she tries to sort of, for lack of a better word, mate with Glader whenever they meet. But and that's to say, like, she doesn't know any better. She still has those animal instincts, but she's still like personified. She still has personality. She's not just like a dumb, she's not like a mule. You know what I mean? She's got her moments. She's got personality, and it's not overwhelming. It's not too proud. Like, that's a big running joke that I don't want to say a running joke, but a big theme. A big personality trait that the dragons have in these books is that they're very proud because they think they own the skies and they own the land. She doesn't do that too much. She does it, but it's not as bad and as it could be, and it gets backed up. And I fixate on that because it kind of annoys me whenever those moments happen, because I'm like, well, I mean, you're not really, like, you're still not technically on the winning side of a war yet in some of the moments where she says stuff like that. But I would put her at, I'm going to put her at B tier for now. I don't dislike her. I don't dislike her. And I don't love Saphira. I mean, I love Saphira, but like, I don't like think that she's like, oh my goodness, like the book would be nothing without her. I'll put her in A tier. The book would be nothing without her, so she gets A tier for that. She's pretty cool. Okay. Next, I'm gonna assume this is Roran. Contrary, I feel like the fandom is split somewhat. It's like a 50-50 between like people love Roran or people like hate him and they skip all his parts on like a reread. I loved Roran's parts. I thought he had the most interesting parts. I thought that he had real motivation. I didn't love Katrina, and I'm not sure if she's in the list. I don't know if this is meant to be her, because I know this is Angela. I don't know who this is. Maybe it'll hit me later if it's not her. Maybe this is Katrina? That might be Katrina. Or is that... I don't know. We'll do some guessing. But Roran specifically, I really like. I love his... He's the character that doesn't have powers, right? He's like the Sokka. He's the leader. I don't know why I keep making the Last Airbender comparisons, okay? But that's all I know. I love how, like, you can read how he built his legacy up to where the end of the series. I love how much he cared for Eragon. Whenever Eragon left, like, it's described that he like cried and like a very painful wail because he loves his cousin or / brother, however you want to think about it. But I mean, I don't know. People don't like him. I like Roran. I'm gonna put him at A tier because he handled the twins. The twins were such a threat from like the end of the first book to the beginning of the second book, and then at the end of the second book, whenever it's the Battle of the Burning Plains, I'm pretty sure, and Eragon and Murtagh are fighting, and they stop for a second, and Roran sneaks up on the twins, right, because they're casting magic, and Eragon's about to step in and is about to be like, all right, I got to help him out, and then Murtagh just goes, nah, let him cook, and then Roran literally like just knocks them on the head with the hammer and kills them both, like just caves their skull in with the hammer. I love that. He had some cool moments. You know what I mean? He was essentially a plot device to see what happened to the rest of Carvajal after Eragon leaves. But I like how he was made to have beef with the Razak. I'll say Razak. I'm going to say Razak. That's not the right way to pronounce it. I didn't listen to the audiobooks, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I like how he is made to kind of have beef with them, so therefore he has a stake in going to Helgrind with Eragon. I just like him a lot. I love like the underdog, no superpowers character. Like, I feel like he put a lot on his back. He's a very good character. He went through a lot. He earned everything that he got in the story. I gotta put him at A tier. I can't do anything less for him, and I honestly do that halfway despite the people that don't like him, because like, how do you not? Like, I mean, I get like the parts can be a little bit boring, but like you need that. I don't know. I like Roran. He's going to A tier. Next we have Angela, C, easy C. She's cool. I like that some of the stuff she says, but it's literally just Christopher Paolini's sister, which is like cool. It's fine. I got no disrespect, and but I liked whenever she was like a fortune teller at the beginning of the book, at the beginning of Eragon, she like did like the, what is it, like the like read his like bones or something like that, or like did her little thing and told him that he would one day leave Alagasia and never come back. But then the fact that I love the controversy and the mystique around her. Like, what is she? Is she human? Is she alien? Because she has been shown to have abilities that we don't know. The origin of which we don't know. Is she the soothsayer? Is she something more than, than we've seen before? Is she a dreamer? After Murtagh, there's more theories coming about. There's a lot of mysteries we don't know about her. But I cannot stand her just like, I'm random for the sake of being random. Like, LOL random XD. I don't love it. I gotta admit, I don't love it. But I do like her abilities as like her fighting abilities are pretty cool. And then in The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, she takes, I think it's Elva. I'm pretty sure it's Elva. And like opens up the wall and like makes a portal, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it's like starry and stuff like that, which could be a reference to Sleep in a Sea of Stars, Paolini's other book / franchise. And I'm pretty sure she's in that too. And if they're supposed to be connected, I don't like that. So I thought about bumping her up to B, but I'm going to leave her at C because I don't like her personality. Like the whole, I just like to be where interesting things are. Like, that's cool, but it doesn't get any cooler than that. Like, something about it, I just don't like it. She's staying at C for me. All right, I'm assuming this is Auric. I like Auric a lot. He's very helpful. I love everything about the dwarves. I love like whenever they describe, like they summon the like the spirit and like the petals fall down and create the silhouette, but Eragon questions if he really sees it or not. I think it's Eragon in that scene that we see that from his perspective. I love how he takes over as like the king of the dwarves. I love his abilities. He's just super chill. I'm gonna put him at B. I like how he was with he was with Eragon early on too, because they traveled a lot together, because they were the ones that originally went to do Weldenvarden, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm thinking incorrectly. And that's where Eragon noticed that he had the knuckles. I don't remember what they're called in like the dwarves called them, but he had like the calluses on his knuckles, basically. Is he above B tier though? I could put him at A, but I really don't remember that many significant moments. Was it? No, and that's assuming that this is Auric. That could be Hrothgar, but I'm assuming Auric because Auric was more of a main character. All right, I'm cool with B tier. For Auric. Pretty sure this is Solenbaum. Solenbaum? Angela's cat? I'm gonna assume that. C tier. In typical. I'm really not trying to rag on Angela like that, like for real, but like the werecats or whatever to me, they're alright. Like I like how they have secrets and they know things. That's really cool, but there's not much significance to Solenbaum that I could really speak on that I cared about. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Our first S tier character, the Razak, easy S tier for me. I think they're some of the coolest villains that I've read about. I love that they had a reputation to hunt down humans and that they're apparently their whole purpose is to hunt down humans. I love that they are basically bugs, but they kind of look like birds. I love that they are babies in their full form, like adult form is like basically a bug dragon. I love that their inclusion in the very first book, where they are searching Carvajal because they heard that they're looking for the dragon egg. I love how they die whenever Roran and Eragon cave their head in, and the Razak says, "Will you tell the Earth, tell legends of how we used to hunt your people down?" As their last wish. I love that they worked independently. They were hired by Galbatorix to hunt down Eragon or hunt down the egg. And oftentimes in situations like that in stories, I find that I certainly appreciate the means to an end more than I appreciate the why. Like why were they sent after Eragon? I don't really know. Well, I mean, obviously I know that, but I don't. It's not as cool to me as it is understanding that Galbatorix knew that these creatures would be excellent for hunting down the dragon egg, no matter who had it. And I love that. Well, that and Durza. Durza's the Shade's name. I wish he was up here. I'd put him up here too. And to think that they were a whole race of creatures, and now there's only for the majority of the book, there was believed that there was just 2 of them, and that they wreaked that much havoc and just instilled that much fear in people. And I like how they're in the first book. They are, and then for the second book, they're really not seen. They come back to Carvajal and terrorize them for a little bit, and then but from Eragon's perspective, he doesn't see them and he's terrified of them. He's terrified of their running. I like whenever they catch them when they catch Eragon and Brom in the first book in Dras Leona. That they're the chase scene with Eragon running over the wall, and they're trying to chase him, and they're clearly a lot more agile and dangerous than he is. I love that they were so strong they could kill Brom, who used to be a rider. They're just so cool. They are so cool. I can just keep going. I loved them. I hated that they died. Whenever part of me lost a little bit of motivation in finishing the series, whenever the scene came up, I believe in the beginning of Brizinger, that they died, because I was damn, I like them so much. But what more can I say? The Razak are some of my favorite villains. And it's so cool because you think they're going to be this raven kind of creature, then come to find out they're closer to insects than they are to a mammal. And there's backstory we don't know. And then in Murtagh, when Murtagh joins the military and goes under, I think it is some castle. I don't remember where, and I should know this because I just read the book, 6 months ago. 5 months ago. When Murtagh Murtagh discovered what he believed was a Razak egg growing because there was a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't normally find growing underground and kept under in this like secret, like not lab but like den area. And so like knowing that, like, you know, there's the fact that he identified it and like it was identified is more, it's like they're a real threat. Like people don't want to see them existing in the world of Eragon. So I gotta leave them a S tier, like easy S. Like there's no debate about it. Next we have the naked hairless elf guy that trained Eragon. What is his name? This is awful. That it begins with let's find out. Eragon or Oramus. He's cool. I like him a lot. I'm gonna put him at A tier. I love that he basically gave himself cancer. I'm pretty sure it's him from like teleporting slightly in order to avoid like taking an attack and like shifting his cells. I love that he is Eragon's training master. I like a lot of the values that he teaches Eragon. I like that he never really like he has like his fight scene, but by the time that he actually fights, he's so out of it and like so fucked up by trauma from past battles that he can't be his full form. And I really like that because it just leaves you to wonder how powerful he really was in his prime. And there's nothing specific I could really say, but I mean, I'm sure I'm missing some crazy wisdom that he dropped on Eragon whenever they were training together. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm gonna put him at A tier. I like Oramus a lot. He was cool. I like the training arcs. It was a good training arc. Okay. So now we're getting to some of the stuff where these next couple characters, I'm gonna assume that this is Arya's mom, the queen. I'm assuming this is Katrina. I'm gonna put her at D tier. It could be Celine, but I imagine Celine looking cooler. Like maybe this is Celine. I don't really know. I'm gonna assume this is Katrina. I'm gonna put her at D tier. A damsel in distress, but like worse. She's like Roran's only motivation, and like that's all she exists for. That she's like pregnant, and then she stayed pregnant despite being like tortured and shit. If you would have put Sloane up here, I would have honestly rated Sloane pretty high. Her dad, because of how Paolini wrote like his punishment and like the kind of person that he was. But Katrina didn't really do anything other than like have Roran's baby, and not in like the sexist way. Like I just don't think she had any like major contributions to the overall story. I'm gonna leave her at D tier. I don't love her. I feel like Roran could have easily had motivation without her. Yeah, D tier. All right, this I'm going to assume it's Braum. I conflicted about Braum because I want to put him in A or S tier. So I won't say that like him as a character is cheap, because from the first book you can very easily tell that like there's more to Braum than meets the eye whenever he decides to just leave Carvajal and go with Eragon despite being like an elder there, right? So it can kind of get you guessing, get you theorizing on some things. But the one thing I do not like is whenever it was revealed that Braum was Eragon's father. One, he didn't tell Eragon, but I mean, I guess there are reasons why, which makes sense. You know, it would have kind of fucked with his training. It would have thrown him off. But he could have told him. I don't know. I guess he never had time, right? Well, okay. That leads into what I was going to say. When it's revealed that Braum is Eragon's father, basically what he did was he, in the inheritance, in Allegasia terms, recorded a video, and Saphira projected that into Eragon, where basically Braum was like, hey, Eragon, if you're reading this is too late. I'm dead. I'm your dad. big reveal, and I feel like it could have been done better. But he's still a really cool character. I like how his dragon's name was originally Saphira. I like how he went from being just like the creepy kind of cryptic old man in the village to a huge part of the story, considering he was part of the plot to take the dragon eggs from Galbatorix. And he, fought Morzan, or was at some point compatriots with Morzan, Murtag's father. And then slept with his wife and had Eragon. He's A tier. He's A tier. I can't give him S though. I thought about it, but I can't give him S. Okay. Is her Arya's mom? I'm going to assume this is Arya's mom. Is that Elismera? Arya's mom, Eragon. Islan Zadi. Sorry. Who the fuck is Elismera? That's a city. Or is that Katrina Roran's daughter's name? I don't fucking know. Maybe it's both. I don't know. I'm tripping. It's been a minute since I've read the books, to be fair. The main series, anyways. I'm going to assume this is Queen Islan Zadi. She's cool. I feel like her death was like hella nerfed. Like, well, she was nerfed when she died. Like, it was plot. Like, easy plot death. Like, she was wearing armor, and then they're fighting the big dude that has the mace. I don't remember his name. In the capital. Damn. What was it called? What was it called before they changed the name? Whenever Galbatorix rolled over it. I don't remember. But they fought there. And she just gets hit. From my memory, she just gets hit in the chest with like a flail, with like a mace, and that's it. Like, she gets hit, and then she like says something like, curse thee, whatever, and then just dies. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you are literally the queen of the elves. You should be OP. You should be OP. But instead, she got hella nerfed because of plot. Because, I mean, if she had succeeded, then the battle wouldn't have gone the way it could have. I mean, they would have easily taken the city, and it wouldn't have come down to like, will Eragon and Arya and Murtag like save the day or not, right? But like, she didn't have to die like that. Like, she could have at least got snuck. I mean, she had wards. I don't. She should have had wards. I don't remember if she did, but she should have. But she was cool. I feel like she kind of gave Eragon attitude for no reason, though. I'm gonna put her at C. I don't know. She was there because the elves needed a leader and Arya needed a mom. I don't like her relationship with Arya either. I mean, I like it. I like how like Arya hadn't been home in years because she was deployed on a mission, and their relationship is very estranged and odd. But like, why does the main super strong main character female elf have to be the daughter of royalty? I feel like that's an archetype that I've seen before. Like Toph. I don't know why I don't know why. I'm going to stop doing the Last Airbender references. I'm going to put her at C tier. I'm assuming this is Selene or Selena, Eragon's mom. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. Selene or Selena? Selena, excuse me. Going based off of what I know about Selena, and I feel like it would be a fair assessment or part of the scoring process to take her down a notch or two because we don't know much about her. But I really, really, really liked how she was considered the Black Hand. And this could not be her, but I'm going to say it's her. Like this picture. I could be wrong. I really like how she was considered Morzan's Black Hand. And it's kind of like ambiguous as to what all she did, but she was clearly very powerful, pulling the strings behind the scenes. Like, I think of... I love that dynamic whenever there's like a... and this is usually attributed to female characters, but whenever there's like a powerful male who has physical power, right? He might be like a king or something like that. But then there's a woman pulling the strings behind the scenes who's really more powerful because she's smarter. So what comes to mind is like Dark Souls 2. Vendrick is like the powerful king, but then he was infatuated by Nashandra, who was actually a fragment of the Dark Soul. She was like one of Manus's like fragments or whatever, who basically ended up influencing him, and she was evil, and she kind of like whispered in his ear and told him to do certain things that ended up leading to his downfall so she could have more power. I'm not saying Selena did all that, but she probably was doing something similar, considering the fact that like she did have a kid with Braum, and she's not doing it for evil, I don't think, but like she's pretty cool. I'll put her at B tier. I can't give her A because we don't know that much about her, but she's at least like beable. I don't know. From what we know about her, I'll put her at B. She's definitely not a C or a D. She's cool. If she got her own story, I bet you it'd be really cool. Which she might, that I just never read. Okay, Glader. Glader's cool. I'll put him at B. Pretty much everything I said about Oramus I can say about Glader. I don't really think there's much unique about him. I like how he's really old. I like how big he is. I love his reveal. I like how he's missing an arm. He's cool. There's not much I really want to say about him. In specific, to be honest with you. I like him. I'll put him up there with Oramus. I'll put him at A. All right, next, Shrukin. I'm assuming you pronounce it Shrukin. I know I just said with Selena that I didn't kind of really want to knock her because we didn't know much about her, but I do want to knock Shrukin because we know nothing about him. I don't even think he has a personality. I don't know if he has a personality described. All this described is that he's fucking massive and that he has blue eyes and is black. I love that he's massive. I love the reveal of whenever they finally go into Galbatorix's like throne room and they think that there's a curtain behind Galbatorix, but really it's just Shrukin's big ass fucking wing. I don't like how he died. I mean, I get the Dolph there. It was like basically like kryptonite to dragons, but like I feel like, well, there's no way they could have fought him fair. They probably would have died. I'll give him C. He's cool. I really like him, but character-wise, like I can't say much. You know, he's not really a character. I mean, he's a character, but like he doesn't have any plot. There's no. I think the only thing is that Galbatorix probably like, or maybe confirmed, rushed his growth the same way he did with Thorn. So I'm gonna give him C. All right, getting down to the last two. Galbatorix, I like how he always just kind of been like bad. I can kind of appreciate that he's more of a twisted individual than he is someone that was good that turned bad because of some external power. I like his demeanor. I like how you don't ever see him until the very end. Like you never really have like a, not the very end, but like towards the end of the series, it's just word of him and his power. You don't ever really see much of him. I like that a lot. I like the story revolving around his plot. I like that he's the villain. I like why he's the villain. I love how the world is in disarray because of his actions, and his like 100 years reign of terror is like, you know, it's not a euphoria and it's not really a dystopia. It's just like the weird in between of like whenever a bad guy takes power but like doesn't fuck everything up entirely. But he died so poorly, man. And this might be like contentious, or maybe it's like a actual popular opinion. I don't mean to phrase it as an unpopular opinion, but like, but damn, like he got talk no jutsu to death. Because Eragon was just like, feel everything that you've done to everyone. And then he just felt bad and then exploded because he felt bad. That was fucking stupid. I get how many other ways could they have killed him, considering how powerful he is? But that's the thing that killed him. That's what Paolini settled on. But everything else aside, I like him. He's a cool character. I kind of like how he doesn't really have any super personal beef with Eragon. He just wants to use him as a tool, and Eragon knows that his destiny is to, like, in the reign of terror, because he just happens to be the only confirmed rider next to Oramus, and, like, he's the perfect tool, and the Varden has a plot, and the elves have a plot, so Eragon has to be the one to do it. B tier. B tier for sure. Not for sure. I won't say for sure. B tier. I could put him higher and I could put him lower. He certainly wouldn't be S, and he definitely wouldn't be D. But I feel like B tier is a good compromise. I just can't. As a villain, he's. Well, okay. He was expanded upon more. There's some more to theorize about him. So there's the whole. And I don't know all the details. So I could be misremembering or misquoting things, or theories that are out there, or what has been confirmed or what has not. So feel free to correct me. But there's the confirmed story that Galbatorix went into the spine and got fucked up and had to retreat. And I think it was assumed in the story that was because of Urgles, but there was theories that it wasn't Urgles, it was some crazy mysterious dark force, which now that Murtagh is out, I believe the common consensus is that it actually was the Dreamers or something related. And I do like that. And I think I read a theory as well that's whenever Galbatorix kind of lost it. No, because he was already trying to do bad shit at that point. He's involved with some cool stuff. I do kind of wish we got a little bit more of, like, why he's such a bad guy. Or, like, why he's so obsessed with, like, making powerful dragons, other than the fact that, like, he's using them as an instrument of war. Yeah, B is fine. I'm cool with B. Because at this point, I think I'm starting to say things that actually aren't true, so I want to avoid that. All right. Last but not least, Thorn. I liked Thorn in the original series, but, and this may be an unpopular opinion, this might make me like an asshole. I hated in Murtagh whenever Thorn had his panic attacks. I fucking hated it. I get it. But after I read the book, what I said was, like, I don't get how you are a dragon and you talk all this shit about, we're the kings of the sky and we kill everything and we eat everything and we own the world, own the sky, this, that, or whatever, and you're scared to go into a cave and save your rider, whenever the bond between a rider and a dragon is supposed to be the, like, one of the strongest things, like, strongest bonds in the universe. I don't love it, man. That was my least favorite part about Thorn. Everything else was cool. I do like, before we actually get to know Thorn all that well, I do like how, like, Saphira kind of, like, reads into him, or maybe it's Eragon that does, and he senses, like, a storm in his mind of, like, anxiety and fear and, like, fighting against whatever power is making him fight. I like how he's really young and immature, and because his growth was rushed, which I get could play into his panic attacks with going into tight spaces because of their experience. But I really feel like the book focused so much on the trauma that they endured, the book Murtagh, and focused so much on, like, that. Like, I like that it's there. I obviously feel like it should have been addressed, and that they can't just, like, get away with all the torture that they endured scot-free. But, dude, like, I was really, really frustrated with Thorn whenever he had his little episodes. And then once again, like I said with Murtagh, like, whatever, they both were equally like, hey, whenever they were trying to infiltrate Bashel and see what was going on with the Dreamers, they were both like, hey, like, this is a really bad situation. We got to go. And neither one of them ever went. Yeah, I just don't. But Thorn's cool. I got to put him at C, though. I got to put him at C, I think. I don't think... I mean, I don't really care enough, like, that much about him other than that I feel bad that he got tortured. But, like... Those panic attacks really did piss me off, dude. I don't know. It's just... It's so... like, anti what the dragons are supposed to be. And I get that they're also personified characters, so they're going to have flaws and hypocrisies. But at the same time, you got to lock in. And he just wasn't locking in. And neither one of them really were locking in Murtagh. I'm sorry. But, yeah, I think I'm satisfied with this. I knew for a fact that Razak were going to be S tier. I was uncertain if I was going to add more people to it. I feel like if there were any contenders for S tier other than Razak, it would be Murtagh. But, yeah, I mean, I'm satisfied with the way this turned out. Yeah, I don't really know what much more I can say because not a lot of this is fresh on my mind. A lot of this is just me spitballing based off of like core memory and like my impressions of the characters versus like actual facts. So if I said anything wrong or that is not canon, or I apologize. I am not fresh on my Eragon lore, my inheritance cycle lore. But yeah, I'm cool with this. So yeah, if you're watching this, then thank you for watching.